Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today we have another card review set from the Dawnguard expansion made by Hazash, a custom set, which we've now got a smaller one to go through today. There's not too many cards in this set, so this one will be quite a quick video. But obviously there's still be one tomorrow as well, so you get to watch that as well and have that joyous occasion. And as you've noticed, I've been playing Hlalu a bit on the channel, so let's have a look at some plot cards, which, you know, would realistically somewhat work with the deck. So here, as we can see, this set is based off a lot of the kind of dodgy and slippery characters found out throughout Skyrim. And it's nice to kind of see a bit of a buff to the plot mechanic, because obviously it didn't really get much added to it past the Houses of Morrowind expansion. But anyway, starting off, we have Black Blood Marauder. A 4-cost 5/4 with plot, draw a card. I think this here is quite a nice and simple card for the set, because it's not just pure draw power. It's not a 4-cost draw a card. You have to put something before it. But then again, with Hlalu decks, you've usually got a good variation of costs in your deck, so you can kind of try and get this out. And as he's mentioned, it's based off Briar, who is a guy who tries to con you by robbing a ship outside of Solitude. He's in the main game anyway, I'm pretty sure, but it's still a nice card to see, and definitely does fit quite well into what Hlalu wants to do. Of course, because he's an Argonian, if he was agility, it would be quite nice just for Argonian decks, but I think you can still make some decent Ebonheart Pact decks heavily filled with Argonians, so him being strength isn't too much of an issue. The stats as well, for it being a draw a card, ability card, I think these stats work perfectly fine with its cost, and the fact that it's only it is a 4-cost, means that it's not too expensive that this draw a card isn't just going to end your turn pretty much late game, but it also is something that means that you won't be able to instantly put them down turn 4 and go haha, unless you got some 0-cost cards in hand, obviously. But yeah, it's a nice simple card, and a good one for the expansion. Next we have Foulmore Agent, a 2-cost 2/2 high elf, which has plot, draw the top action from your deck. And this here, I think, would be outstandingly good for any form of mage deck, any form of high elf deck. It kind of works outside of just Hlalu, which is what plot's for, which is really nice to see. And as they've mentioned here, it can work both in plot and action heavy decks, just to pull off your triggers and synergies. And it could work very well in the form of pulling 0-cost cards, enabling kind of future plot triggers, and just a lot of other things. Like, realistically, you could, if you're trying to make a Swindler's Market deck with willpower, of course it can get a bit strange doing that, but, you know, Swindler's Market's good fun. Something like this could be quite nice just to save you from a brick or two, and try and hit something which could be a 0-cost, or a Smuggler's Hall and get loads of 0-cost cards to hand. Right, next we have Court Schema, a 5-cost 7/5 with plot, put a random vampire in your hand. And it's based off Orfjolf. I know the guy, I'm bad at pronouncing. Orfjolf, let's go Orfjolf, who is one of the Volokar vampires, and has some very nice artwork here, which clearly just goes well with the set. Right, so the point I'd like to make with this is it's a common card at 5 cost and has plot, so that means obviously you need to play at least one card first to get that effect to go off. Obviously, excluding the vampires that are being added by this set, this is the full list. Go away. This is the full list of vampires just in the game as it is currently. And as much as I do like the idea of just drawing a random vampire, because that's what it does, as we can see here, it's kind of curved towards giving you something very, very strong. So while you'll be mainly looking at this and thinking, okay, you could just get like a Bloodline Outcast or one of these two, there's a high chance you get something really powerful. And like, just look at the legendary count, for instance. There's quite a lot of legendaries. There's some very good epics here. I can see why some people might not be the biggest fan of this. Of course, a lot more vampires would be added to the set, which would hopefully try and balance it out to mainly kind of grab rares and epics rather than constantly getting you legendaries. But the thing is, you got rows of cards like this, it's purely RNG with what vampire you get. So sometimes you'll get people who do get very lucky and get a lot of very strong cards, but then you'll get other people who just be like me and just constantly get Quarrel Clan Bloodkins. And on those occasions, it's just the best you can do, really, isn't it? So, it's an interesting card for sure. Maybe, I guess, slightly increase the value of the card, or the rarity, maybe? That would be my only suggestion to kind of stop anyone whose concerns would be that this is just a legendary searcher most of the time. But realistically, you know, it could get you something not great. Then it could also get you something like Champion of the Arena or any of the higher vampires, which would really kind of spook out your opponent, especially if you get something like On-Day Clan Sorcerer, which is a very powerful legendary and also fairly cheap. So it means that this could be quite scary. So yeah, like I said, maybe increase the value or slightly increase the rarity. But other than that, I think it's a fine card, to be honest. Then finally, we have the 7-cost 4/4 Black Briar Matriarch, who is a Nord, which when summoned will trigger the plot of each friendly creature, and when a friendly creature plots, Black Briar Matriarch gains +1/+1, and it's based off Maven Blackbriar, who... Yeah, this is something that I can agree with here. It was a bit weird that Maven Blackbriar didn't get their own card, but I guess at the same time, when you're limited to making a certain size set, these people just get sometimes avoided. And like I said here, this card is very good for like a kind of almost boss monster, generating several more plots, and does take a few turns to set up, but with the right plot abilities on your side, you know, it's really great. So yeah, some of the cards that you might be pairing Blackbriar Matriarch with would be, say, these ones here. And obviously you can't really do it with an action. It's got to be something that's, you know, an actual creature. So not these two. But as you can see, there's a few nice ones to see, but then there's certain ones like Twin Lamps Console, which just wouldn't be worth it, because it would already have Lethal and Guard. Or, I mean, it might not actually, but you'd assume it would. Then there's other ones which are like Draw Power or Silencing Creatures. It's got a lot of kind of diverse uses with certain cards. But no, I think Blackbriar Matriarch's really nice. And looking at every other card added to the set, there's nothing here that would make this completely insane. And something that always does get brought into people's minds, which is, oh, what if you've got 7 plot cards already down, and then, you know, you activate this, you get 7 abilities off at once. Realistically, that doesn't happen. Like, you might get 2 or 3. But as much as they would be very good, like, having, you know, say you have, you know, this guy down, so it unsummons a creature with less power, you silence another creature, you draw a random guard, and let's just throw in one more for the fun. Throw in, yeah, you know, equip a creature with a Steel Scimitar, or maybe grab a random vampire. It's giving you a lot of, like, a big swing, but then this is quite a big card. I mean, I guess, again, maybe it could be brought up to an 8-cost. But other than that, I think it's a good card and nice to set. And as it's a non-unique legendary as well, you can run 3 of these. So maybe I could see why they'd make it 8-cost, because obviously it doesn't need to be a plot card itself. It triggers other plots on the board. But yeah, other than, I guess, making a couple cards in a small set a bit more expensive, I think it's fine. It does the job. It's nice stuff to see for Hlalu. And that will end the video. Thank you once again to Hazash for this lovely set. And I'll see you guys in the next one.